I'm the Deer Runner, and in this analysis video, I'm going to completely redo my first video on Deku's original scanning Quirk, which in My Hero Academia series, superpowers are called quirks, for the ones who don't know. I'm redoing this video as the editing was not good due to I was stuck in an area with no access to a good recording environment and a heat exhaustion with no sign I was getting out of there anytime soon, so I sent it out there in that condition, and I probably shouldn't have. This theory is the first one I made for My Hero Academia, which I found that Deku has a superpower that scans and manipulates events around him, which ended up making a lot of hidden events become noticeable, as it often figured them out and changed how it interacted with them accordingly, which fueled my research on the topics on My Hero Academia, though sometimes I did misinterpret them. This will contain spoilers for the My Hero Academia series. This is your final spoiler warning. First, we will spot it before I prove it was there before Deku received a large amount of superpowers when he got One for All. By looking at two events it's most easily able to see. First, in the battle with Hero Kill Stain, basically Deku's friend Ida screwed up and was cornered by the Hero Kill Stain. Deku had managed to win by having both his allies, Ida and Todoroki, who arrived fight alongside him, but due to Stain's power, he paralyzed Ida temporarily, so made it so Deku had to run down the clock till Ida was able to fight alongside them, which ended up making them win by them attacking all at once, which they had no chance otherwise, and every second count. So since we are looking for manipulation, we will look at the factors that brought them time for Ida to recover, which we see that when Deku arrived and then Todoroki arrived, Satan was about to kill Ida in a matter of seconds. Both times, and he interrupted them and he had to start it all over trying to fight them, so it bought a massive amount of time with unreasonable last-second arrivals. For the first case, Deku, who had to such a large city, had to have been controlled to arrive at the last second. So this theoretical power had to have mentally manipulated him, keeping him unable to see his altered path of searching, and likely physical manipulation to have him move past that small alleyway entrance at the last second. For Todoroki, we look back at the Deku who, for no explainable reason, delayed a large time sending a distress signal out, but due to Todoroki's direction of travel and speed, would have a predictable arrival time when a distress signal is sent if someone was observing Todoroki, which since Stain basically quickly said what he said before, likely in case Ida's paralysis wears off, timing Todoroki to arrive just before Ida could potentially die, according to what Stain would say, seems to have caused this through Deku. Plus, if the distress signal was detailed, Todoroki's group would have just headed over, preventing them from splitting up to save another group of heroes that needed help, as Todoroki's group was actually after Stain. Again, mental manipulation to delay Deku, and both required extremely powerful scanning to keep track of all the important variables. So what we have here is a living Quirk that mentally and physically manipulates Deku to move around as a pawn to do what it needs to do according to what scanning determines need to be done. Plus, Deku was desiring this the whole time, so it was supporting what Deku desired. We look at another event, the Round 1 obstacle course of the first UA Sports Festival, to see the exact same superpower at work. It was a several kilometer long course with massive obstacles, but the last one, Minefield, is what we're going to be focusing on. Somehow, Deku lucked out by carrying a metal slab to it, which he was able to use it to safely fling himself forward to the front of the competitors. By jumping on a pile of mines he dug up, able to slip into victory. First off, Deku did not know the minefield, and that metal slab considerably slowed him down, and then he carried it over a mile of rope, dangling from a cliff. That was insane. Clearly his physical shape should have guaranteed a qualifying spot on its own and had no foreseeable benefit, when obviously it should have been perceived as a very bad idea in regards to Deku's perspective. So mental manipulation to make Deku do a seriously unreasonable thing, which also was the best thing he could have done. Which, since scanning determined it to be, then of course physical manipulation when he dug up the mines into a pile, having them not explode and not completely screw up when jumping on a pile of mines to launch himself forward, which should have sent in any other direction before it. They needed to land where Todoroki and Bakugo were, who were in front to disorient them to allow Deku to get distance, which required insane acrobatics. They should not have been able to do. If he landed in front or behind, they would instantly target him, defeating Deku, so why he hit them? Which makes sense, would be physical manipulation to hit a moving target while flying through the air, with scanning able to determine everything that needs to be done. And of course, scanning everything that was used, especially with how he handled being flung by the mines. And he desired to win, so again, this quirk worked to fulfill his desires. So the same quirk, both times. But since Deku received One for All that has many different powers, and later on will show he gets access to them, we need to prove that this quirk was there prior to Deku receiving One for All, to prove it was his original superpower. Plus, why didn't he notice his extremely powerful and impactful superpower? To answer why he didn't notice, we can look at the end of actually both these events talked about. In the UA Sports Festival at the end, Deku clearly could see something was wrong. When Uraraka questioned him on how the hell did he just win, which the music became pretty tense and dark as Deku thought about the ridiculous steps that brought him to victory.
I can't believe you got first place, I'm jealous!
It was nothing. It's not like I had some big plan. I tried a few things that worked out better than I could have hoped for. Any of those gambles could have gone wrong. I was just lucky, that's all.
But it didn't match his state, as he was basically confused and assumed he just got lucky. Plus, didn't support the happy celebration. But it is indicating someone is afraid of Deku noticing his original quirk. We looked at how Stain was captured. He had a secret knife he could escape with, and did, but due to Deku's injuries, his allies told him to not help tie Stain up. With scanning, Deku's quirk did know of the imminent disaster, but chose not to help. Since last event showed fear of it being spotted, and only way his quirk could have stopped Stain was by telling them or forcefully walking to Stain with his crippled, sliced open foot, pushing past his allies to get to Stain, making itself obvious as it finds a knife. Both events together clearly state it has a social phobia, which, with something this powerful in regards to omnipotent manipulation, would be expected to succeed at hiding till the day the one who has dies, if it is motivated to do that. There are a few other reasons I've seen, but this one is the biggest in regards to keeping his quirk hidden. And he could answer it easily, by itself. The reason why will be shown in part 3 of this series, when it is shown how it is alive at the end of the video, which also that video is edited, well, decent enough, so definitely watch it. Now let's spot it before Deku received One for All, which is the incident Deku got chosen to receive One for All with the sludge villain attack. Since Deku got chosen to receive One for All for his heroics, and did heavily desire to be a hero like All Might, with the school incident showing all his classmates teasing him for wanting to be a hero without powers, and stubbornly focusing on being a hero which he idolized All Might, so wanted to be like him. This is a disturbing indicator due to he literally got All Might's power due to what is about to happen. His quirk may have been hunting One for All. Next, Deku ended up getting himself cornered by the sludge villain, after All Might exhausted himself on the verge of going into his weak form, which since that conversation they had due to All Might got stuck with Deku, when he went into his weak form was crucial, and his Quirk already shown to move Deku around to be at the right place at the right time, so mental manipulation to control its direction of movement, and physical manipulation to control its pace. And scanning to know where to place him is strongly indicated. Then, when All Might leaped to the height of a skyscraper, which should have plunged his weak kick to his death, as Deku tried to hold on to All Might's leg as he jumped, but somehow got such a good grasp without All Might noticing. Physical manipulation was needed as that required insane levels of movements. It is clear Deku's Quirk was manipulating to at least follow All Might. Then the next part, All Might seemed to accidentally drop the sludge villain as he was in the air, letting it loose on the city. That caused the incident. Deku showed his heroics, becoming the chosen inheritor of All Might's power, one for all. But Deku and All Might looked away, allowing Deku's Quirk to toss the bottle containing the sludge villain undetected, which with scanning and physical manipulation power shown so far likely could have aimed it with pinpoint accuracy and know exactly what happened to it when it lands, which landed next to the one person Bakugo who likely kicked the bottle in anger, releasing the villain, though that bottle not being broken open by a skyscraper height impact, but instead a simple kick after it landed, something only Deku's original Quirk, physical manipulation and scanning, could explain, as there would be no other reasonable explanation, which, due to Bakugo's powers, caused a massive amount of explosions eluding all the heroes, causing a prolonged hostage situation. Deku has enough time to reach. Then Deku arrived, but specifically reported he didn't notice himself heading over there to the loud sounds of battle.
Why am I here? Did I subconsciously walk this way to check it out?
That is again mental manipulation and physical manipulation to put Deku at the hostage situation it set up. And Deku charged at the villain, but he reported his body moved on its own. Again, physical manipulation, which Deku later assumed it was because he wanted to save Bakugo, but a full sprint makes it unlikely with how clearly Deku was freaking out, yelling in his head, why is he running? Why can't he stop?
What am I doing? Why am I running? Why can't I stop? Kanchan! What the hell? Why are you here? I don't know! My legs! They just started moving! Kanchan, I couldn't just stand there and watch you die!
So, we look to see why Deku was forced to charge in at that point. Just before Deku charged at the villain, Bakugo, who was taken hostage, who also basically never allowed himself to show the amount of absolute fear he showed right before Deku charged, indicated something big changed, as Bakugo was mostly just his angry self prior to that. Since we look back and see the sludge villain stated he was going to hide inside Deku's body, which clearly suffocating was an initial step, and I know since I've been in a room full of tear gas, the sudden fear that grips you automatically. Don't ask about that. Can't explain why Bakugo got scared.
You'll make a perfect skin suit for me to hide in, kid. Don't worry, I'm just taking over your body.
I can't breathe! He caught someone? I wonder how long they've been in there. How can they survive being suffocated like that? I thought I'd die after only a few seconds of struggling.
Bakugo had clearly stopped talking right after that, noticing Deku, and didn't call out to Deku to stay away, which also the sludge villain referred to Bakugo as a skin suit, just before taking him hostage.
Perfect. I like a skin suit with some fire.
Plus, the sludge villain stated he can use Bakugo's power to fight off All Might.
You've got so much power. I really hit the jackpot. With a quirk like yours under my control, I can take All Might down with one punch.
So, I don't see how it could have without more control, likely from the inside. So, we are getting strong indications Bakugo was just about to die, as a sludge villain would have suffocated him and clogged his lungs. as it enters, making it impossible to save him even if they freed him, which his death would have made it so Quirk had to send Deku in and stop the sludge villain from killing Bakugo, or Deku's desire to be all like All Might would fail, as he never get chosen, after failing so bad to save Bakugo while being perceived as accidentally being responsible for the event that killed him. As if it wasn't for Deku, that sludge villain would have remained captured. Which also, Deku's scanning Quirk delayed as long as possible would be able to see any other hero that could beat the villain is coming, so knew it had time, giving All Might, who was recovering, the maximum time to rest, so he can save Deku after Deku rushed in.
I'm the one to blame. He wasted his energy on me. He can't power up yet, and none of the other heroes have the quirks to stop this monster. It's my fault. I'm sorry. So sorry.
We see Deku as he runs into the sludge villain and flings his book back, and somehow, the sharp part of a thick textbook flung out, painfully hitting the sludge monster's eye, which had an almost 0% chance of happening, except if you use physical manipulation and scanning, which would make it 100% chance to have the contents of that book bag somehow be positioned and move in a way when it gets launched to hit the eye. Then, with the sludge monster stunned, the sludge got away from Bakugo's face, which Bakugo gasped for air and coughed, showing that his air passages were being blocked. So, it's clear his air passages were being blocked. Then Deku, instead of trying to pull Bakugo's torso out to get the maximum amount of leverage to free him, Deku instead kept keeping the sludge away from Bakugo's face. So Deku's original Quirk saw something that needed the sludge away from Bakugo's face. Since Bakugo's Quirk have him sweat large amounts of explosive nitroglycerin, which is a liquid so likely harmful to a liquid sludge villain if it mixes into its body, and it had to abandon most of its mass to enter Bakugo, concentrating the nitroglycerin to critical parts. So to safely enter would need to clog the pores of Bakugo around his mouth, which would take time. So when Bakugo started suffocating, the sludge villain must have succeeded on clogging Bakugo's pores around his face, keeping the nitroglycerin away from its smaller main body so he can enter. But due to Deku getting the sludge away, which nitroglycerin has been shown to come out of Bakugo extremely fast, it had to start over, then basically confirmed this by saying to Bakugo just a little bit more, as it put the sludge back on Bakugo's face.
Just a little bit longer, kid, and I'm done playing with you!
Indicating it was doing something big, and couldn't be referring to the prolonged hostage situation that had no sign it was ending soon. Then All Might, motivated by Deku's fake heroics, saved Deku, and Bakugo then chose Deku as the next wielder of One for All due to his orchestrated heroics. That seems to be all the information stored here, so I'll end my video here. I do hope you like the updated version, and just to say I've been releasing several videos on this topic. This video is just a basic introduction. There's a lot more going on, which requires a chronological look at everything happening in the series, which I am doing that, though I have for now only got up to the end of Season 1. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll check out my other videos on My Hero Academia. This has been a Deer Runner, the Runner of Deer. Thanks for watching.